I just built an AI agent system. It's able to allow me to take a picture of any product I have and transform it into a viral VFX advert of any style that I like, and even auto-publish them onto any platforms that I like on Autopilot. And all I gotta do is just to chat with it via Telegram. And this is thanks to the new blotato node on n8n that makes publishing content more seamless and easier than ever without all the API hassle. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build it too using no-code tools like n8n. So let's start by seeing how this works. Okay, you can see over here, I do have my AI agent. So let's say I have a picture of a product that I want to use to create advert videos for, and let's say I want to use this specific bottle, right? And so this is just a simple picture of the bottle I have taken photo of. And so I'm going to tell the agent, I want to upload a new product. Yes. Okay, so after confirming, it's going to ask me to add in a product. So I'm going to add in a product over here. Open this up. And over here, I do have a simple form. I'm just going to call this the purple bottle. Okay, and then I'm going to choose the file. And I'm going to upload this specific bottle over here. And a product type, I'm going to say bottle. Submit this. Close this. Open up Telegram. Okay, and now it's going to return the product in a blank background, which is super cool for me to use to generate advert videos. And so I'm going to approve this, and it's going to add to the database. Okay, and now it says the image have been uploaded and saved. And if you take a look over here in this database, I have a new product created called purple bottle like we mentioned. I have the original image over here, which is this purple bottle. And then from there, it transforms into an image with a simple plain background that we can use to generate adverts for. So that is super cool. Now let's generate the adverts from here. Okay, so let's say I want to generate an ad video. And now it's going to ask us which product that we want to do. So I'm going to say purple bottle. I'm going to come up with a concept for this. So let's say I want a Hypebeast Tron style advert, hyper realistic fireworks. Okay, so let's see what we get. So we don't want a name to be Hypebeast Tron style advert, right? We want that to be the whole concept. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to say this is the concept, and then the name would be Hyper Bottle. Okay, so now it's confirmed the name as the Hyper Bottle ad, and the ad concept would be Hypebeast Tron style advert hyper realistic fireworks. Right, so this is pretty vague, but let's see what we can actually get from this and what the agent will build for us. So I'm going to say proceed. All right, and here we go. All right, super cool. You can see it's now create an advert picture for us on preview. Right, this is pretty Tron style, and there's fireworks, and it's pretty hyper realistic as well. So very cool idea is generated for us. And let's give it a moment, and we're going to see what kind of advert video is going to generate for us. But in the meantime, you can actually see that this is the exact image of the bottle that we want over here. And now it's actually transformed and created a super cool image of this bottle for the advert. All right, here we have it, the advert hyper bottle. Let's check it out. So that's super cool, right? This is a super cool advert video and a super cool concept that I would not be able to do without actually using AI. Right, and all of this is generated just by me talking to the agent on Telegram, and I didn't even go into that much detail as well. Right, what's even cooler is that now that I like this specific video, I can ask it to publish this video for me into all specific platforms as well, with the captions uniquely created for me as well. So let's test this out. Let's go into our database over here. We have a new advert over here, super cool. And let's go into ads. This is the one that we like. So I'm going to change the status to ready to upload. All right, I'm going to go back to Telegram and I'm going to ask it to publish the videos for me. Publish the video for me. Now it's telling me the ad video Hyper Bottle is ready to be published. Are you sure you want to publish this video now? I'm going to say yes. Let's go. All right, now it's telling me that the video has been published onto TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So now let's check out our social media platforms to see if you have gotten the results. Okay, so let's take a look at Facebook. You can see it's uploaded over here, right, on Facebook with a caption unique for this specific video, right? Dive into the electric energy with the purple bottle shining bright in a futuristic Tron scene. Pretty cool. Let's go into YouTube. You can see the video is also uploaded here, right, with the description purple bottle neon fireworks show, as well as a unique caption just for YouTube itself. Right, and we also have the video posted on TikTok, another unique caption over here. And lastly, we also have it posted onto Instagram as well with a unique caption, as well as hashtags for the Instagram style. And that's actually pretty cool how I actually managed to just transform this specific image over here just by taking this picture a couple of minutes ago and transform it into any type of VFX video that I want and create captions and post them onto all my social platforms. And all of this is run by this agent team over here on n8n, and I'm going to teach you how to build this in this specific video. And so before we get into the building of it, let's try to understand why this system matters and how you can actually leverage this. So this system essentially is to turn any products into $100,000 VFX ads. As you can see from here, I could also take this picture of this bottle and I can transform it to any style that I like. Right, turning ordinary product shots into stunning $100,000 VFX style ads instantly just by chatting with your AI agent via Telegram. So you can see from here, this is the flow that you have actually seen earlier. What I actually did was I take a picture, I send via chat, and it removes the background and store it in database. And now it allows me to have this specific product to ask the agents to create all types of different ads for me, just like this one over here. And then I could ask it to publish to all the platforms for me as well. At the same time, all of this is updated into a database so that we can always go back and take a look in a seamless manner. And so why does this system matter, right? Before we have this, it costs thousands of dollars usually to create a video like this. If I'm a business owner that wants to sell a product, or if I'm a marketer that wants to create product ad videos like this for my clients, I need a VFX team or a production set. And it's not easy for me to do just like that. Of course, with AI apps, you can actually provide some edits, but it doesn't fully customize to your needs. You can't exactly do the exact flow that I just did from this demo itself. And so by using this system, it now costs only 40 cents per video generation using Veo 3. When this video is released, Veo 3 is still a pretty new model, right? So the price is only going to get cheaper and cheaper from here, and the results that we can get is only going to get better from here. Using this system itself, you can now also do it solo, right? You don't need a production set or team. You can use this system to help you generate ad videos and content from scratch all by yourself. And this is fully customized to your own needs and your platform. And how can you leverage this system, right? If you're watching this video, you probably fall into one of these categories. You're either a business owner, marketer, or an agency owner looking for ways to scale your content automation systems, right? And so there are two ways that you can actually do this. The first one is to build for yourself. By using this system, you can 10x your creative workflow, you can slash costs, automate VFX, and content creation. On top of that, you could also build it for your client, right? You could offer this as a premium service to generate VFX videos for your clients' products, create advertisements for them, and you can do this 10 times faster at 10 times less the price compared to big production companies, right? You could also package this and license this as your own AI systems as well. And so if you're as excited as I am, let's get right into the building of it. To start, this system is built fully on n8n, a no-code platform tool that allows you to create powerful content automation systems. And in this build itself, I have this main agent over here, right, which is connected to 3 different agents. The product agent to help me upload the images onto the database and create it in a blank background, the ads agent to generate the ads for me, as well as a publishing agent to publish the videos for me. I do have a main product agent over here as well. That's the main agent that I've been talking to on Telegram that helps me liaise with these other agents as well. And this is what's going on behind each of the agent system as well. This is the workflow for creating a new product. This is the workflow for the ad creator agent, as well as the publishing agent as well. So we're going to go through each of them one by one. Now, if you want to make this process easier for yourself, you can get access to this full blueprint in my community, link in the description below, where you can just copy and paste by just uploading the blueprint by clicking import from file, and then you can use it right away and follow along more effectively. Okay, so let's start off with the Airtable to see how I actually built this up. Right, this Airtable over here, I do have 2 tables. The first one is the product overview table. So we have the product name, type, original image, clean image, and ads. This is where we store the link of the images that we can use to generate the ads. And then we have all the ads categorized over here. Following that, I just have to replicate the different fields that I want, which is ads, ads description, prompt, image, ad videos, as well as the status, which is drop down field with just 2 status ready to upload and all posted. Okay, so pretty straightforward. And we'll open up the hidden field. Okay, and this is product name and product overview, which is linked to the previous table over here, right? This allows me to link the ad to each of this product. So to create a field like this, all you gotta do is to right click and insert right, and then link to another record. Okay, very straightforward. And I'm just gonna hide this for better viewing. All right, and then once this is completed, I have the rough Airtable skeleton completed. And so I'm gonna go into the very first agent that I will create. And so for this system, I'm actually creating it through a multi-agent system. Take a look over here in the very first agent is pretty clean and straightforward, right? We have a main agent, which gain access to the 3 different agents to do the task for us, like product creation, ads creation, as well as publishing. We have access to the database as well to search for products and search for ads, and use this as information to send over to these agents to generate the ads and publish for us. So let's start off by going into the Telegram trigger first. Right, because we want to talk to you on Telegram, we do have to create a Telegram note in this specific workflow. You want to go and find bot fodder on Telegram, go into bot fodder, and in bot fodder, you want to create a new bot. Once you've created a new bot, you want to connect it to your credentials and add in your API over here, okay? Once that is done, you want to trigger on message and then type in a message to your agent, right? Type in a message and then you will get a chat ID and it will run smoothly for you. Same thing over here, you just want to make sure to add in at the end as well. This is the reply Telegram note where it will send a message back to you. You connect it to the same agent and make sure to connect the chat ID accordingly as well. This will allow you to be able to talk to the agent via Telegram and get it to reply to you via Telegram. And once that's completed, we're going to go into the agent and then the brain. Okay, so opening up the agent node over here, you can see for the prompt, it will be JSON message text, and this is where we can get the user message from Telegram. And then we have a system message over here, which is the instructions for the agents, right? We're going to give it a set of instructions to decide how it should interact with us. So let's open this up and check this out. Firstly, we want to give it a role, right? So we want to tell it that it's a proactive and helpful AI assistant to manage digital products, ad campaigns, and publishing workflows. Its objective is to guide users through product creation, ad generation, and ad searches, publishing tasks, so on, right? His job is just to be able to just help us liars and get these different agents to do the work for us so it doesn't get confused, and this increases accuracy as well. And the next part that's important is that we need to define the tools over here. So if we go back to my workflow, you can see each of these tools, I do give it a specific name like search product, search ads. And then you want to make sure that in your system prompt, you want to be able to define the name accordingly, right? Like product agent, search product, so that the agent knows which tools to use for what purposes. Okay. So firstly, of course, is the product agent. We want to use it to help us create a new product. Second is the search product tool, which is used to search and return products available in the database. Right, return the name and the URL, right? This is so that we can actually take a look and see what products that we are actually generating ads for. On top of that, we have the search ad tool, which is to search the archive of ads and identify which are ready for publishing. The ads agent to use to generate ads for a chosen product and campaign. And then the publishing agent to publish videos and ads that are ready for release. Okay, so pretty straightforward for the tools section. Then moving on, we want to give it task as well. After knowing the tools, we want to make sure that the agent knows what it's supposed to do. Right, just like our employee, you can tell it tasks for each different action, right? The first one is creating a product. We're going to tell it that when it's tasked to create a new product, confirm the user if that's what they would like. Once user confirm, call the product tool to create a new product. Moving on, we also have the second action, which is generate ads, right? So how is the agent able to generate ads for us? So when user asks to generate ads, we're going to make sure that it clarifies which products they would like to generate ads for. So you take a look over here, you can see from previous example earlier, it's actually clarified with us which product we want to generate the ads for. So pretty cool, right? Because we gave it the instruction over here. And then it will tell us the product available. And then once we've confirmed the product, it will ask us for the ad name as well as the ad concept. Once you have all this information, it will call the ads agent and send over the information to create the ads. And moving forward, the third action that this agent needs to do is to publish ads for us. Right, so when user asks to publish ads, we want it to use the search ad tools to find the ads that are ready for posting, right? That's where you can find the ads that are ready for posting over here in the status. And then it's going to return a one with the status ready to post and ask if the user is ready to post them. Right, once the user confirms, it's going to call the publishing agent tool and then publish the ads for us. Okay, and then from there, I do have a couple of examples as well. Right, this is quite useful when you're creating a prompt for an agent to sort of give it an idea of how it should respond for each of these tasks that we give it. And then lastly, I add in some notes, and the notes section is usually information that I want it to remember in case it forgets, right? So anything that's important, like telling it to always clarify and confirm user intent before triggering tools action. We don't want to be calling the tools out of nowhere, right? And so once I have this prompt completed, right, this very first part of the very first workflow is done. And moving forward from there, this is where I go into the second part, which is the brain, database, and the product agent team. So for a basic AI agent, there are three main components, right? The first is the chat model. And the chat model are large language models like GPT or Claude, and this is sort of like the brain for the AI agent. We also want it to have a memory section over here. Moving forward, we want it to have tools as well. And tools are the different tools as well as agents you can call to be able to do tasks for it. So let's go with the brain first, right? We're going to connect it to a tool called Open Router. So I'm going to go into Open Router AI. Right, Open Router is a tool that I really like to use because it allows me to connect to many different types of API for different models like Gemini, Claude, GPT, and so on. And so just by using this one tool, I can always change the models to get different outputs from the system that I want. So that's pretty cool, and I don't have to connect to many different APIs. Right, and so you just have to add in some credits over here. Okay, and then you go to find your API key. and then you want to create a new API key, right? Once you have created a new API key, you want to go back and then find the open router model. Just have to click plus over here, find open router, right? Once you have that, we're going to connect to the open router model, open this up, and then you can just choose your model, and I'm going to choose GPT 4.1 mini for this specific example. Okay, and once that is done, I'm going to give it a simple memory as well, right? A simple memory is basically to give it context of the conversations that we have. So let's say if I were to put 5 context window length, you remember the past 5 conversations. Okay, and then from here, this is connected to the JSON trigger. This is the JSON message chat ID, so that it's able to keep track of the conversations from Telegram itself. Okay, once this is completed, the brain section is done. So now we're going to connect it to the database. Right, to connect to the database, you do need to go into Airtable, go into create tokens, okay? And then you want to create a new token over here, and you want to add a scope, data record read, data records write, and schema base read. Give it a name, and then make sure to add in your base over here, which would be the @agent base that I've created, right? Okay, once you have the API key, same thing here, go back and then create the Airtable node for tools. This first one is the search record function. And then make sure to connect to your credentials first. Add in your API keys over here. Okay, once done, you want the operation to be search, okay? Base would be the @agent. The table would be the product overview. Right, so this tool itself, like we mentioned in the prompt, this is the search for the products that we have in the Airtable. Right, so the agent is able to access what kind of products that we have over here all the time to be able to route them accordingly, whether to create a new product for us or just to share with us the information of which products that we have over here. And so the search operation will allow the agent to have the function to do so every time it needs to do. And then for return all, we make it defined automatically by the model, right? What this does by clicking on this magical button over here is that the model will decide whether to return all the records from the table over here, or is it to just return one. Right, this is important because let's say we want the model to just return one product to us, it will be able to decide accordingly as well. So this is a super cool function that sort of gives some autonomy to the model to decide what to do for us. Okay, and then we also want it to download the attachments as well. This can be defined automatically by the model to download the product image for us as well. So this is up to the model to decide as well. And then the output fields would be product name and clean image, right? So these are additional options that add by clicking onto the add option over here. Right, we want it to return the product name and clean image. So let me show you an example of what this means. Let's say I ask it, what products do I have? You can see very cool over here is return all the name of the products. Okay. Can you give me more details? Right, you can see now it has the link of the image of each product. All right, so that we have it for the search product function. Next tool we want to go into is the search ad tool. Right, besides just being able to search the products over here, we want it to be able to search the ads over here as well. And so that allows us to decide which video we want to post. So going back to this first workflow, we're going to be able to connect to another search record function by Airtable. Name it search ads, okay? Connect to your base, your table, and then we want to filter by the formula status equals to ready to upload, right? This is important because we want it to only return us the ready to upload advertisements. And then same thing here, return all defined automatically by the model. Pretty straightforward here, and the tools section is completed. Now we have half of this first agent completed. The next part is where the magic really truly happens. And this is really the power of a multi-agentic system, right? Something that looks very clean and sleek from here while being able to maintain the accuracy. Right? Think of it like a normal team of employee, right? Despite how talented the specific employee is, if one person is tasked to do many different things, it's actually quite difficult for the agent to be able to return all of the input for us all at once. Right? But if it's able to delegate each of the tasks specifically to a specialized agent, right? For example, this to create a product, this to create ads, and this to publish, it makes it a lot easier and smoother for this agent to be able to do all the tasks for us in this very specific manner. So this is where the multi-agent system really comes in handy. And so how we connect to all these different agents, right? In n8n, how we actually do so is to create a new workflow for each of this agent system. You can see over here, 1, 2, 3. And this is done by calling another specific workflow. Right, so if I click plus over here, you just have to click call n8n workflow 2 and it will call another workflow. So let's go into the very first one, product agent. Right, it's connected to the workflow that we have created over here. And so what it does is that it will call this specific workflow and it will send the input start equals to true to call our product agent to get started. In this specific section, it's quite straightforward. You just have a description as well as the inputs to send over. And for description, you want to keep it something simple, but you make sure that the agent knows what to use this for. So I'm going to say call this tool to upload and create a new product for the user. Same thing I'm going to do for the ads agent. I'm going to connect it to the ads agent workflow and say call this tool to generate ads for a product. And then for the workflow input, I want to make it defined automatically by the model because we want it to send over product name, ad concept, and the ad name, right? And this is based on what we want to generate ads for. And lastly is the publishing agent. We want to give it a description as well, automatically publish ready videos onto social platforms. The workflow will be 83 for publishing agent, this one over here, okay? And then we just want to give it the status to publish. And so if you notice, why is the input so different for each of these workflows? Because the input is actually defined by us for the workflow over here. And so I'm going to run through with you each of them one by one later on. But before we go into each of these specific workflow and how they actually work, you can sort of understand by this section, you have covered the Airtable, right? This is where we store all the information, the products, the ads information, as well as the main agent over here, right? We go through the instructions of what's supposed to do, which tools to call for what purposes, and roughly you kind of know that it's able to call the product agent to upload products for us, call the ads agent to generate ads for us, and then call the publishing agent to publish the videos for us. Right? But after understanding this whole process, we're going to go deep into each of them to actually see how this works behind the scenes and how you can actually build them out for yourself as well. So let's go into the very first one, which is the product agent. Okay, so you can see over here in the product agent, there are three main sections that helps us generate the product, remove background, and save it in Airtable. Right, so we want it to be able to get the info from the photo of the image we have taken and then upload the image into Google Drive. And then we want it to then remove the product background. We're going to use the OpenAI image generator. And then we're going to review and save the product in Airtable itself. So to help you better understand this workflow, I'm just going to play it once. Okay, I'm going to set some mock data over here. All right. And I'm going to just put start is true. So it's able to run this specific system for us. Okay. Save this and pin the output. Right now, let's run this. Okay. And you can see from here in our Telegram chat over here, it's going to ask us to send in a product. I'm going to send in the image of this wristband that I have taken earlier. Okay. So I'm going to call it power band. Choose this wristband over here. Paste this. I'm going to say wristband. Submit. Close that. Let's go into n8n. Okay, and now it's running. So after it's completed, we're going to run through each node one by one to see how this works. Okay, let's come back to this workflow. You can see now it's completed. There is a point over here that is asked for approval. You can see over here, once I've approved this, it has actually uploaded the images for us onto Airtable. Take a look. And we do have the image and the new product over here, which is the power band, which is the wristband. And this is the blank image that it has generated for us. Pretty cool. All right, now let's go back to n8n and let's see how this works. So starting off from the first node, when executed by another workflow, right? This is the node that actually links to this one over here, right? This is to call another n8n workflow too. And then you actually send an input over here to this workflow. So like I mentioned earlier, how do we actually decide what data gets sent over? How I actually did is to define the data to be sent over. Right, so instead of using the field below, I'm going to define using JSON example. And I'm going to put in this JSON example over here. I'm going to set start equals to true. And it's going to ask for an input field called start. You can see over here, start. Right, and I just want to send the data, a fixed information as true. We don't really need any information from the main agent to get started. Right, this second agent over here would send us the form to be able to upload the image as well. We just want the main agent to send over start equals to true. So we kickstart this specific workflow and get the product agent to get the product info, remove the background, and save it onto Airtable. And once we are done with that, we're going to use a send and wait node from Telegram. Right, what this does is that this node will be connected to the Telegram agent that we have created earlier. Okay, make sure the chat ID is the same. You can get it from the very first agent over here. And then you want to send it a message. Right, and I want it to have a form where I can upload the product image that I've taken a shot of and give it some information as well. I'm going to add in a message over here. I'm going to say something simple like, all right, what product would you want to add to the database? Please add it in for me. Make sure the details are clear, visible, and front shots so we can use it for product development. This is exactly what it said earlier to tell me to respond and upload the image. From there, I want the response type to be a custom form, right? And I want to define the form using fields below. The first one is the product name, which is what is your product name. I make this required. Second one is the product image. The element type is file. This is so that I can upload the image over here. Lastly, I also wanted to ask for the product type, and I find this important because while crafting the prompt for the advert later on, knowing the product type could be useful for the agent to generate the different prompts for us. Okay, and you can see over here, this is the product image uploaded, right? And after I've created this form, I want to upload the product onto Google Drive. This is so that I can save it in a database so that I can always gain access to this image later on in Airtable. So to connect it to Google Drive, you need to make sure you have the Google Drive API connected. And so if you haven't done so, all you gotta do is to go into console.clouds. And then what you want to do is you want to go into API and services, go into OAuth content screen, and then you want to go into credentials. Okay. And then from credentials, you want to create new OAuth 2.0 client ID, right? So you just have to click create credential, OAuth client ID, choose web application, give it a name, add in your redirect URL. And to find this redirect URL, you just have to create a new credential and just copy this link over here. Okay. And then go back to console, add in the URL, and then you will get the client ID and client secret. And you just have to type it in over here. Once that is done, you want to search for Google Drive, click into the API, and then make sure to enable this, right? Once it's enabled, you're going to come back to this page, okay? And then once you type in your client ID and client secret, you'll be prompted to log into your account, log in and provide the necessary permissions. Once that's completed, you will have it connected perfectly. From here, you just want to use the operations upload, and then you want to input data field name to be product image. Make sure it's the same as the one earlier, okay? And then the file name, I want to give it the file name of the product, right? Which I've provided over here. So I'm just going to drag and drop this, paste this in, and then that's where you get this JSON field. And now we're going to type underscore original, right? Because this is the original image, not the one without the background, okay? And I'm just going to add it to one of the folders that I've created earlier. And that's it. Once you've reached this part, we will have gotten the product info. The next section we want to cover is to remove the product background. And this part is how we can actually get beautiful images that looks like this without the product background. Super cool and super useful for generating ad videos for ourselves. So coming back, we're going to download the product first from Google Drive. We're going to use a HTTP node, okay? Open this up. Make sure the method is get, and the URL would be from the previous node. We're going to choose the web content link. Okay, drag and paste this in. And that's it. The image should be downloaded over here. Perfect. Now, after downloading this, we want to send it to OpenAI to be able to create a product image for us. We're going to go into platform.openai.com. Okay, you want to log in, create an account. Okay, once you've logged into your account, make sure to add in some credits, and then you want to go into your profile, find API keys, okay? And then you want to create a new secret key. Also, you want to make sure to verify your organization so they can access the protected models, which includes the image generation model. Okay, once you've done so, you just want to go back, and then we're going to create another HTTP node. Open this up. We're going to create a new authentication type, choose generic credential type, choose header off. And then you're going to create a new credential, right? We're going to give it authorization as a name. And the value would be bearer space. And you're going to type in your API key over here, right? This is for you to add in your OpenAI API key. And that's it. You can save this as a new credential. Close this. And once this is completed, you just want to copy this that I have over here. The method is post. The URL is api.openai.com/v1 images edits. And then you want to send body over here. The parameter type would be form data and binary file. The name would be image. And the input data field name would be data. Make sure it's the same as the one previously. This is so that we can send over this image into OpenAI to generate the blank image for us. It's important to choose n8n binary file because the previous image that we have over here is actually kept as a binary data. So you want to make sure to send it over as binary file. All right, and so let's check out the prompt that we have created. Open this up. You can see this is to identify the product in the image, extract it and all the details, and create a clear image of it with details intact in a clear background HD front shot. Right, this is so that we can get the image without the background. Also give it a product type as well. So this is just an additional prompt to just make sure that the model knows what product it is. To help you better recreate the product in a blank background. Okay. And just by doing that, the AI agent is able to generate the image in a blank background for us. And then the last parameter form data would be the model, and this will be GPT image 1. Okay, and that's how we create the image. After creating an image, we do have to convert the file that we have. So you can see over here, we have this B64 JSON long scribbly words over here, and this is what we have generated after creating the image. So we just have to have another node, which is a move base64 string to file node. Right, and we just want to convert the data over here, drag and drop this in, okay? We want to put output file in the field called data so that we can transform this into an image, right? From squiggly lines to an image. Once that is done, we just want to upload the image onto Google Drive again. So we just have to find the file that we want, upload it, make sure the input data field name is the same because we want to use the binary file. Operation upload, and then the file name, I'm just going to choose from the previous node once again, make sure it's the product name, and I put underscore clean. That allows me to differentiate between the original image as well as this new image. Okay, once we have created the product, remember on Telegram, what it does afterwards is to send us the image, give us the name and the type, and then once we approve, it will upload to Airtable, right? So you just want to make sure to see the image once again first. Make sure it's not like totally off before we decide to upload it into our database. So how I actually did that is I created another HTTP node in this section. Once again, the method is get, and I want the URL to be the web content link from Google Drive. Okay, and I just want to download the image. Once I download the image, I'm going to send it over to Telegram. Right, so we're going to have a send a photo message node, and the chat ID is the same. Send a binary file and input data, and that's it. We'll send the image over, and I'll ask for approval. This is a send and wait node. So pretty similar to the first one you've seen over here, right? Same one. And I'm just going to give it the message, which would be product name, drag over the product name earlier from the send message node and the product type, right? And I want it to ask me, is this correct? And then we just want to make sure that the response type will be approval, okay? So we just have to approve this before it moves on to the next node. Take a look over here, right? And once you have approved this, you will create a new record in Airtable and then connect it to your product overview over here. And you just want to update the information, right? Once again, drag and drop and map them. So the product name would be from either the when execute by another workflow node or send message and wait for response node. So drag this, paste this in, product type, paste this in. Original image would be from this over here. Right, drag and drop the web view link, and then clean image, you want to get it from here, drag and drop the web view link as well. And then we just want to have one last note to send a text message. Awesome, your image has been uploaded and saved. And that's how we get this final message over here. And that's how we get the product uploaded onto Airtable over here. And just like that, this agent itself is actually super powerful because creating the image in a blank background from something that looks just like this with so much going on in the back is actually pretty amazing. And this system by itself could already be very valuable to a lot of product owners and marketers, right? So after we have the product generated and uploaded to our database, let's go into the ads agent to see how we create ads for this product. Okay, coming to the ads agent once again, right? Let's go into the executions and see how our previous run works, okay? So let's zoom in and take a look. Let's take a look at when executed by another workflow. Remember, we created purple bottle and we have the ad concept hypebeast Tron style as well as the ad name. So this is actually sent over from our main agent earlier on when we chat with it. Okay. So after when executed by another workflow, we have the next node, which is get product records, right? And this is a search record node from Airtable. What we want to do is after sending over the product name, we want this node to be able to find the specific product, to find and send information of the specific product that we want to create ads for. Over here, we want to filter by formula, product name equals to, and we're going to add in the product name over here, drag and drop. And that's where we get product name equals to purple bottle, return all. And then we get all the information about purple bottle, the clean image link, as well as the original image link. And it's what we're going to use to create the ads. Okay, afterwards, we have three main sections. The first section is creating the ad image, right? We want to create an image for the scene first, as you can see from the previous example over here, okay? Then once we have created the image, we want to create the videos for the ads. And that is the second component over here, create ad video. And lastly is update user and database. Right, so let's start with the very first part, create the ad image. Same thing here, we're going to use the Open AI model, right? Same for removing the background. And the first thing we want to have is an image prompt agent. We're going to create a prompt to be able to generate images for us based on the ad concept that we have to create amazing images just for us. So let's open this up, okay, and start with the user message. So for the user message, we want to send over the product name and the ad concept. All right, so we're going to open this up. What we did is actually we sent over the product name from the previous notes. And then for ad concept, we're going to send over the one from the AI agent. We're just going to drag over the ad concept and paste this in, right? Which is Hypebeast Tron style advert hyper-realistic fireworks. Okay. Once this is sent over, we want to give it a system message. We're going to tell it that it's an image prompt designer to create rich, vivid visual prompts for generative image models, always centering the product and ensuring all product details are faithfully and consistently depicted. Right, we give it a task, which is given a product type and an ad concept, write a single descriptive prompt paragraph that visually depicts the advert scene with the product as the clear main focus, right? And then we give it other instructions as well. Describe the product, appearance, context, and relevant features, so its identity is never ambiguous or lost, right? Integrate all visuals and stylized cues from the ad concept, inferring settings, mood, lighting effects, and atmosphere as needed. Output only the descriptive paragraph suitable for input into an image generation API. Perfect. Okay, and then we have some examples over here. So for example, this is the bottle, and then we have an output example, right? So if you take a look at the example, there is the style, right? There's a style mentioned over here, right? Details about it, details about a bottle. And then we also have this line to make sure to reference the attached image as the product and keep all the details of the product in the shot. We have a couple more examples here as well. So you can also take a look in the resources, right, to understand better. And lastly, we end off with some notes as well to make sure to integrate all from the ad concept styles. And lastly, we add in some notes as well. All right. Okay, after adding in this system message, we connect it to a model. Once again, using Open Router, we're going to connect it to GPT 4.1 mini. Okay. And then once that is done, this image prompt agent will generate a prompt for us. Take a look over here. You can see this is the prompt for the Tron inspired bottle. And that creates this specific image for us here. So that is pretty cool, right? After the image prompt agent has created a prompt, we want to download the image and then create the ad, right? So we're going to download the image from the product records over here, drag over the clean image URL, and then the operation downloads, which is the Google Drive node, and then you will have the image generated over here, okay? And now the OpenAI model is going to use this as reference to create the ad image. Open this up, same thing over here for the API. Method post, this is connected to the OpenAI API. Make sure to connect your credentials. And then same thing, binary file, the input name data. The prompt would be from the previous output, right? Which is created by the image prompt agent. Drag and drop this in. And then the model GPT image 1. Same thing, convert it to file, okay? And then we will have something that looks like this. Perfect, right? Okay, and once that is completed, we're going to go and host it on Cloudinary. Okay, so this is an additional step that we haven't seen earlier. Right, so why do we do this is because the next step we're going to do is to send it to a video prompt agent. Sometimes the next model cannot actually get access to it because of restrictions. So you can host it on platforms like Cloudinary so that you can actually get the video agent later on to use it to generate videos. Okay. So let's go into how to host it on Cloudinary. Firstly, you want to create a new account on Cloudinary, okay? And then you want to get an API key over here. So click into API keys and generate a new API key. Okay, once you have an API key, you want to create a upload preset. I have one over here called n8n upload. We're going to open this up, give it a name, okay? And then you can choose an asset folder for the image to be uploaded. Right, this can be any name based on where you want the image to be stored. And then set auto-generate our unguessable public ID view, right? And then this view is for generated display name, so you can just choose this very first one over here. Okay, once you have created this and saved this, this will be used for the API later on. We're going to go back to n8n, go to editor. We're going to go into this node, open this up. Right, so to connect to Cloudinary, what you want to do is to open up the Cloudinary node. Right, this is a HTTP request node. The method is post. And the URL would be api.cloudinary.com/v1_1/ We're going to add in a cloud name, which can be found on Cloudinary, the top left, /upload. Okay, this is for the upload process. We just want to upload the image. And then the authentication, we want to create a new authentication for Cloudinary. Open this up and you'll see there is a user and a password. So the user is the API key that you can find on Cloudinary. And the password is the API secret, right? So you're just going to find the API key and the API secret. Okay, once you have connected this to, what you want to do next is to go down. The first one is the form data, which would be n8n binary file. The file, the input data field name is data. This is to upload the image previously. And then the next one would be upload preset, which is n8n upload, or the name of the upload preset that you have created earlier. And this can be found from the upload preset that you have over here. Okay, once that is done, let's go back to executions to see how this ran earlier. Okay, we go back to host on Cloudinary. Once I've added all the information needed, it will get an output and upload the image onto Cloudinary. So if I copy this URL, paste this here, I will actually have the image uploaded onto this cloud. And this is for me to use to generate the videos later on. Okay, after hosting the image, I want to send an add image preview, right? Now, because the process of image generation and video generation might take some time, I'll make sure to update myself on Telegram to sort of have an understanding of what this looks like and prepare myself for the video that's coming up. Okay, and so I'm going to create another Telegram note, send photo, chat ID. Okay, and then the photo will be the JSON URL, which will be the URL of the image that we have. And I'm going to add in a caption saying, here's your fire ad image for the advert, video generation coming right out. Okay. Afterwards, we're going to move on to the next section, which is to create the ad video. And this is where we're going to use Veo3 API to create an ad video for us. So you can see the process is quite similar for image generation and ad video. Right, we do have another agent to generate the prompts for the video. And then we generate the video. And then we get the video status, download the video, and then send it to the user once again. Okay, so now let's check this out. The first one is the video prompt agent. We give it information like the product, the ad concept, as well as the image prompt. So the image prompt is quite useful for this agent to have an idea of how the image looks like, how it's described, so that it can generate the video prompts for us. Now I give it an instruction as well for generating the prompts. We tell you that it's a advert visual prompt generator to generate simple product advert concepts into rich cinematic visual prompts for generative videos. Okay, and we give it some examples, right? Like what kind of output it should have. For example, like the hyper realistic VFX art. We want it to have output like this with the description as well as some camera concepts over here. Now, of course, you can further enhance this prompt according to what you like as well. And so you can use this as an example and then further add on to it and you'll get different output. All right. Now that this is completed, this agent will actually send the prompt over to this next node, which is to generate the video for us. And so how we're going to generate the video is we're going to use an API called Key AI. All right, so let's go into it. So Key AI is a tool that I found that allows us to actually connect it to Veo in a cheaper manner. At this point of recording, Veo3 has just been released, so it's pretty expensive. But using Key AI, we're actually able to connect it to the Veo3 model at just 40 cents per 8-second generation, so that is pretty cool. And it also allows us to connect to many different types of models like Midjourney, Flux Context, Suno, and so much more. So you can actually check them out as well. Okay, what you want to do is to go into API key and then you want to create a new API key. All right, and then from here, I'm going to go into the document. Okay, I want to click into generate Veo3 videos. Right, I'm just gonna find the curl over here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm gonna go back to n8n, and I'm going to paste in the curl. Right, once I import the curl, I will get something like this. And so you can see over here, the first method is post. The URL is api.key AI API VO generate. And then same thing, we're gonna create another authentication header auth, and the header auth is key AI. Right, and the name is authorization. The API key would be bearer, and then adding the API key, right? So how can you find this? You can see over here. In the curl of any API documents, you can see what is the information that you want. So this is the name usually, right? And this is the API token. Okay. All right, and then from here, you can send body, and the body will be the JSON field over here for us to send the prompt and so on. So let's open this up and see what we have. The first one is the prompt. So the prompt will be from the video agent. We just have to drag and drop this. The image URL would be from Cloudinary. So open this up, and we just have to drag and drop the URL. The model will choose Veo 3 Fast, which is a cheaper model at 40 cents per generation. So that's great. Callback URL, we can just keep it as it is. Aspect ratio 16:9, and then the seed would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Once this is done, this process itself, when you click onto this, will send the video into key AI to generate for us. Okay. So go into logs, and you can see over here, this is how you can take a look if the video has been generated. Right, you can see this is the video that has been generated earlier. You can copy this URL, paste this in, and this is the video that we have generated earlier on. So once this is done, it will actually send it for task, right? But the thing about video generation today is that it takes some time, right? So we do have to get the URL over here and send it to ourselves, right? But the problem is that it takes a while to generate this video. So we do have to add in a wait node, okay? And I set it to something like 4 minutes to be safe, right? So this will wait for about 4 minutes. And after waiting for 4 minutes, we will have another node, which is to get video status. And this can also be found from the key AI API over here, right? We just have to find the get Veo 3 video details, copy the curl, okay? Paste this in, and then you just have to add in the fields accordingly, your API. And then the task ID will be from the previous node. Drag and drop this in. And there you have it. You will have all the information like task ID as well as the result URL. So we want to make sure that this field is actually updated. And that's why we want to have the 4 minutes wait. If we have it way too earlier and the video file hasn't been generated yet, then the system wouldn't be able to get anything from it. Okay, and once we get the video, once again, we want to download this because it is a temporary file, as you can see from here. So the video will be deleted after a while. So we have to download it and upload into our Google Drive. So another HTTP node, the method is get, copy and paste the URL here, and you will be able to download the video. All right, beautiful. Of course, we actually generated the video in 16:9, as you can see from here earlier. That's why the video has been uploaded onto YouTube as a long form video. But if you want to make it a reel, you just want to change this to 9:16, and you can make it into a vertical format video, and you will be able to upload it as a reel onto YouTube. All right. After downloading the video, we are down with the final step of this specific workflow, and that's updating the user and the database. Okay, so this is quite straightforward, right? You want to send the video to the user as well as upload the video at the same time. So you can see from the download node over here, I open up 2 different paths. The first one is the send video node on the Telegram. And by now you should sort of know how this works. This time I choose the operation to be send video, and then I choose binary file, and the input binary field would be the name. And then additional fields would be the caption I want to give it, like your advert hype bottle has been generated. Let me know if you want another fire ad generated. And that's how we have what we see over here earlier on. Pretty cool. Okay, and of course, you want to make sure to upload it to Airtable as well. So we want to upload the file, okay? Give it a file name, which would be what I would like to use for the ad name over here when executed by another workflow. Now choose the product name, bracket, ad name, so that we know which file we're using. And then upload it to a drive. And go into Airtable, create a new record. And I'm going to create a new record in the ads table over here. Okay, the ads table. And then I want to create a record under the product that we have, purple bottle. Okay. So we just want to map this accordingly, right? Ads, ad description, ad prompts, add images, right? Just drag and drop the links, add video. And the most important thing over here is this specific view, right? Product overview, right? So for Airtable, this is how you actually link the view nicely such that it's connected to the product earlier over here. So what you want to do is you want to go into the previous node, right, which is get product records over here, okay? You want to find the record ID of the product, drag and paste this in, and then add in a square bracket on the outside to make this an array. And so this action itself will allow us to connect this specific view to the earlier product that we have over here. So when we open this up, you can see we have the ad connected over here, okay? And once this is done, we are completed with the very second workflow, allowing us to generate ads based on the product that we have. Perfect. And now that we are completed with almost everything, we just have one last thing to do, which is the publishing agent, right? After uploading the products and generating ads for them, we want to be able to publish the video for us, right? And so if we go in Airtable, once again, and recap, we want to be able to trigger based on the status over here, right? So you can see this is the status. We want to change it to ready to upload. And then we want it to be able to trigger the agent to upload for us onto all platforms. As you can see over here, the video has been published by the agent. Right, so let's go into the final agent to understand how do we actually publish all of these videos onto all platforms. Let's go into our final video agent over here and let's click into executions to see the previous execution earlier. Okay, and so this is the one that we use to publish our videos. Right, so when we chat with the agent, it will send over this status as published. Right, this is for us to trigger this specific workflow. And then from here, it's going to search the records. Right, it's going to find the status equals to ready to upload from the ads table. And that's where we get the hypebeast video that we have earlier. Okay. And now we have a publishing agent. As you recall, we didn't have any captions for this specific ad product, right? Take a look over here. We just have the ad name and the ad description. That's all. And so we need unique captions for each of the social platforms, right? So we have the publishing agent over here. Okay, if you open this up, the publishing agent will get the information like the product name, ad description, and prompt, all from the previous view, right? And with this information, we want it to create all the different outputs for us. Okay, so I told it that it's a AI specialized in crafting high-impact viral titles and descriptions, specifically optimized for all the social platforms. It's going to receive an input, and then its task is to generate platform-specific content tailored to the unique characteristics and audience engagement styles of each platform, right? For each platform, I want it to have description, and some platforms like YouTube, I want it to have title, description, Facebook Reels, this title and description, and so on. I want to turn on this view required specific output format. This allows me to actually create different outputs for each description so that I can actually map them accordingly to each of this platform. And so if I open this output parser out, I do have this JSON example over here. And so of course, I should be adding in a TikTok description as well. But for this example, I actually just utilize one of this for TikTok. But of course, you can just add it into the prompt as well, or even adding more views for other platforms like LinkedIn and so on and so forth. And once I've created this, I would have an output that looks like this with all the different titles and descriptions for these different platforms. What I'm going to do next is to download the file and then upload them onto all these different platforms, okay? And so the next node is going to be a Google Drive node. And so this Google Drive node is what I'm going to use to download the video. Okay, I'm going to open this up, go into search records. I'm going to choose the add video link, paste this in by URL. The operation will be download, and it will allow me to download the ad video. Okay. Once I have the ad video, I'm going to publish them into my publishing system. And this is where I'm going to use an app called Blotato. Alright, I'm going to go into Blotato to show you how this works. So Blotato is an amazing content engine that allows you to do many things like create, remix, and distribute your content onto all the different platforms. So if you want to get started, you can click the link in the description to get a free trial to get started. And once you do so, you will get into a platform like this, different accounts. You just have to go into settings, right? And you just have to log into all your different accounts, right? So there's many different platforms that you can actually publish your content onto, right? Like Twitter and so on. So log into 4 different accounts over here: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, right? Because these are the 4 platforms that I want. And the beauty of Blotato is that instead of having to go through all the hassle of understanding the API, you just have to log into your account from here and it will do the rest for you. And you can seamlessly just post your content onto these different platforms, right? So it's actually pretty intuitive. And then once you have that, you can just go back to n8n, okay? And just use the native Blotato node. right? To do so, you just have to search for the blotato node, search for blotato, and you can just add this in, okay? And going back to the very first node that we have over here is the upload media node, right? If I open this up, after you connect it to your blotato account credentials, you just have to add in your API key, and then you're good to go, right? You just have to choose the resource as media, your operation is upload, and then you click use binary data, and then you have your video uploaded onto blotato storage. Copy this and open this up, and you can take a look. The video has been stored in blotato. Perfect. Okay, once it's stored there, you could very quickly upload this video onto your platforms, right? So I'm going to choose another node called post, okay? And then I'm going to have the operation create. I'm going to choose the first platform to be Instagram. From there, you can very quickly choose the accounts you have connected to. I'm going to choose the description that I've created earlier from the publishing agent. I'm going to drag over the one from Instagram, paste this in. And then the media URL would be from the previous blotato node. Copy, paste this in. The options, you can choose the media type. I'm going to choose it as real. And once you get this section, it means that this video has been scheduled for posting, and that's how we got the video over here. And all I gotta do is do the same thing for YouTube, right? Choose my account, give the prompt, choose the URL, send over the video title, and then I can notify subscriber and choose privacy status. And that's it. Same for TikTok, connect to my account and post my video, as well as Facebook, right? Connect to my account and then post them accordingly. Right, so very straightforward, very intuitive, and this is super smooth. And after this part is completed, all my videos are posted onto all my social platforms. And afterwards, just to sum it up, I just want to update my database. So I'm going to connect each of them into a single Airtable node. Okay, over here, I just choose the table to be ads. And then I want to make sure to match it based on the record ID. So copy this from the search records, paste this in. And then you want to change the status to be posted for each of them. So for the first one, Instagram, I'm going to change this to posted. Okay, same for YouTube. I'm going to choose this YouTube one and change to posted. Make sure the ID is matched from the search record notes. Copy and paste this 2 more times and update TikTok as well as Facebook. Okay, and that's how we get all of this updated to posted, right? Once it's completed, I'm going to merge them. Choose the mode combine by positions, number of inputs 4. So I get all of the information from these previous 4 nodes. Okay. And then I'm going to have an if node to just make sure that if all the fields on this Airtable is set to posted, then I'll change this status to all posted. So I'm going to set this as condition, drag and drop from the previous node. So the status, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, make sure it's all posted. Okay. And then once that is completed, I'm going to set it true and create another update record node. I'm going to match by the record ID again and choose the status to all posted. And that's how we're able to update all the status to posted and get all the videos posted onto all our social platforms right here. And that's it. That's how I actually build this whole system from scratch and how you can actually build it for yourself too. Once again, if you really want to go deeper into building content automation systems like these, you can join my community where we not only cover new strategies as well as provide all the blueprints and resources inside, but we also go in depth into the foundations of content automations and cover deeper topics as well as tech support to make sure that you get to build the content system that you want. So if you're interested, do join the community, link in the description below. If you stay tuned here, I really appreciate you, and I hope this video showcased to you what could actually be done with AI content systems, and we're so early in the game. If you like videos like this, do give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.